Greetings folks, Dan Mack here from the Shred Shack. Today, we're heading back up to the Great White North for a trek into what is, for me, unknown territory. You know, I could have started with a pun about roads right there, but I thought better of it. From the promotional material that I saw regarding the Long Dark Road, two terms came up most often: shoegaze and blackened punk. Shoegaze is a term I still don't understand, so I had to ask resident expert Pete the Boulder Grabowski to elaborate, which he simply responded with this picture, and then told me to go fuck myself. Something like blackened punk I can more easily rationalize, and it's more of a broad statement combining two genres, which I at least have some familiarity. So going into this release, I had certain expectations. Coming out of it, I only wanted more of what this band offers. The opening track, Tragedy of the Commons, starts the album in proper fashion as it effectively introduces all the elements that make the band sonically appealing. However, I was turned off by the first 2 minutes of it. While it is undoubtedly purposeful in sounding like an indie rock band playing in direct competition with somebody blasting black metal, I just found the kickoff to be underwhelming. I have said in previous reviews that the piecing together of incongruous parts has varying results, and thankfully, this is the only point of this release that the product is met with negativity. Once the track passes that point and the next passage begins, the album takes an immediate upswing from which they never falter. I couldn't describe what makes it so much different thereafter, but the track becomes seemingly more accessible as the punkier elements take center stage, only enhanced further by vocals that sound like a strained rally cry. From there, the song changes styles on a dime between the aforementioned punk and black metal, as well as bits of doom and stoner metal. While the song by itself is intriguing, it actually proves to be the weakest on the album overall. On the whole, the album sounds less like a collection of songs and more like one solid song that was split up arbitrarily, as each of them are versatile in their own right. Hitting their stride with I Will Follow, the Long Dark Road demonstrate their artistry by effectively elaborating on what Tragedy of the Commons may have only briefly presented, starting with wavering vocal melodies sandwiched between a confidently mad spouting of lyrics that can be likened to Mike Patton.
Down to the river, and let the river taste my sins. I will fall.
The combination of styles this band executes can often create an atmosphere of discomfort, which is not a bad thing in this case. But it's the slow burns that evoke this best. Up to the passage in question, I Will Follow builds upon fluctuations between feverish and crushing before turning the pace on its head. The next 2.5 minutes build tension very slowly, starting with a lone, solemn guitar playing haunting arpeggios, and eventually accompanied briefly by a second guitar and drums. Shortly after the re-entry of the drums, the solemnity is laid to rest by the ensuing frenzy that still has the haunting arpeggios being played over it, but at a faster tempo. Each shift seems to come out of nowhere, and even with elongated segments like this, it keeps the music unpredictable and keeps the listener engaged. Just under 7 minutes, The State of Our Union is the album's shortest track, with the last minute and 20 plus being devoted simply to a bass outro. This song is also arguably the least varied of the bunch, but its strength comes from what they choose to emphasize in it. Slowly building on the power of a flurry of drums, the song's first 2 minutes are reminiscent of some of System of a Down's mid to late career offerings. After this point, the black metal influences take hold and don't let up until the aforementioned outro. The vocals become the highlight, bellowing with conviction over a chaotic and repressive backdrop, only to unite for a few seconds, yielding a near-anthemic passage evocative of a break from madness. Now, the title track is the pinnacle of the band's offerings and actually picks up where the State of Our Union left off prior to the bass outro. Everything I've adored about the album up to this point is done to perfection in this song, to a point where I can't say more than I already have. We're talking black metal dominance, punk dominance, great vocals,
Many times I've betrayed, spread seeds of folded ashes, turn rose gate.
and of course the band still has one more surprise to bestow, as the second half of the song starts off with a slow burn that works its way into a passage that I can only say sounds like a mashup of Metallica's To Live Is To Die and a reinterpretation of old Mega Man music. With this track alone, the band makes an unignorable statement of their artistry and demonstrates the absolute beauty of their craft. So needless to say, I thoroughly enjoyed this release. Applying the more artistic side of certain variations of black metal to the audacity of punk, among other genres, is an unusually perfect symbiosis. At a seemingly brief 35 minutes, there is no point wherein the songs overstay their welcome. They are diverse and change direction enough to keep the listener invested. With subsequent listens, I noticed more about each song that I had previously overlooked and appreciated the release more as a whole. I would definitely say that purists of the source genres need not apply here, but this is far too good to dismiss under that premise, as The Long Dark Road have opened my eyes to a subgenre on which I need to place more attention. So those are my thoughts on the Long Dark Road self-titled debut album. If you're interested in hearing it, the song Tragedy of the Commons is currently streaming on thelongdarkroad.bandcamp.com, and you can pre-order it prior to its April 8th release. After which time, if you agree or disagree with my opinion, let me know in the comments below or on our Facebook page at facebook.com/theshredcheck. Until next time, I'm Dan Mack, and I bid you adieu.